Welcome, Richardson area Democrats. We have got a crowd here tonight. Y'all look around at this. You know I love a crowd. I love a good crowd. How many here are here for the first time tonight? That's a lot of folks, y'all. That's a lot. Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. It's great to see some people that we met when we did our train protest downtown. Some of these ladies over here came from that, remembered us a couple months later, showed up. We've got somebody, brought his wife, finally got here. Glad to see you. I am just so happy to see all y'all tonight, and I hope that we're going to move this thing right along so that you guys forget all about how warm it is out here and just enjoy each other, enjoy the program, and it's not bad. I mean, we've had a really mild summer, and the rain that came in yesterday was just fabulous. You got to find your wins where you can get them, right? I go out in my backyard in the morning and I look across that yard and I'm like, look at how green it is. You walk around, there's reasons to smile all over the place. Forget about what's going on the big level. It will go and it will come and all the things will pass too. And the day is going to be a good day if you find a reason to make it. My friend Lilith is here tonight. I haven't seen her in a while. I'm glad you're here tonight. Thank you. We are going to just jump right in. I am going to ask my friend and co-board member, Johnette, to come up and tell y'all something special.
Good evening and welcome. I'm so excited to see all of your beautiful faces out here. And thank you, Jenny, for opening the meeting. I have the honor of introducing two very important people who are going to be the recipients of the RAD Leadership Richardson Scholarship this year. They do not yet know they are the scholarship winners, so this is going to be an announcement. It's very exciting. I myself was one of the first Leadership Richardson Scholarship winners from RAD. I was in class 38. Raise your hand if you know what Leadership Richardson is even. Okay, a lot of us do. I'm just going to say one thing about it. It is hosted by the Richardson Chamber of Commerce. It has been around now. This will be the 41st year of the program. And it is a source of appointments for our boards and commissions for the city of Richardson. Leadership training program. They educate you on leadership skills, the various parts of Richardson, social services, government services. It is a fantastic program, and it has been a great positive contribution to the city for so long. And I am thrilled tonight to announce two people who are members of RAD who will be going through the program this coming year. The first one is sitting right here, Justin Neff. Come up here, Justin. The program is something that costs money, so RAD is giving Justin a for the program. Justin is wonderful. He is someone who helps us understand what's going on at the council on a regular basis. If you have not yet read the Richardson Review, please do so. He does a fantastic job of keeping us informed. The second one is our very own Teresa Douglas, one of the 4 Bullets owners. Teresa, where are you? There she is. She's coming up. Teresa has been one of the wonderful people who have allowed us to host these meetings here over the years, and they've been very supportive. Lisa, we are very excited that you're going to be in the program next year. Thank you both for going through this program. It is a lot of time, and we know that they're going to go forward and help bring RAD values into our community, so thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, congratulations. Just so you guys know, she was being a little bit she was going to give, but I'm going to tell more. We started this scholarship about 4 years ago, I believe, and every year there's people put their application in to Leadership Richardson and for the class. And we said we want more of our Richardson area Democrats to be in leadership. So we offered a $500 scholarship to a member who would get accepted there. We had 2 this year, and so we gave 2 scholarships away, and it was a full scholarship on both. So thrilled that we're able to do that, and I thank you guys for supporting us in a way that we're able to do that. In case you don't know, I'll take this opportunity. If you have a name tag, you didn't put your name tag on, that was pre-printed, that means that you are a patron member. And that means that you have donated to us within the last year towards our membership. With that membership, we do things like this, things like slate cards. We gave out 10,000 slate cards last year before the election. We do a lot of things like that. It also pays for us to be able to be patronizing this great establishment, and we appreciate all of you guys for doing that. If you are not wearing a been pre-printed, you either A, didn't register beforehand, because you do have to register in order for us to know that we need to print your name, but it may be also that you haven't donated within the last 1 year, or maybe ever, and I'm going to just invite you to do so. Club, I think you'll enjoy this evening, and we do great things, and we can do more and more great things with your generous donations. So please, if you enjoyed tonight, if it means something to you to have this kind of a community, I hope that you'll consider joining us as a patron member. And you can go to rad.vote to and join link on our website, rad.vote. So that is my little promotion to the people that stood up to do this this program. I do want to point out that Joy is also a former recipient of our scholarship, and so is Destiny back there in the back. Destiny and Johnette have gone through former classes, and if you think that might be something you're interested in, look forward to next year. Talk to one of them about the program. It's a great program. So, we started back some time ago. It's long enough ago that I probably should stop saying we started. We started featuring profit each month, that we have somebody from the nonprofit come and speak to us about their mission, about the opportunities that there are to participate. We have everything from saving dogs to promoting the symphony to tonight, the Parkinson Voice Project. And Hillary Byatt is here tonight. She's the CEO. Come on up, Hillary. She's the CEO of the Parkinson COO. Sorry. I get that. She is with the Parkinson Voice Project, and I'm going to let her talk to you about what they do there. Well, you know what? Before a little story to tell about this. I want to make it personal here for a second. I had a sweet, sweet friend from my neighborhood who had several strokes, and the strokes affected her voice. She didn't have Parkinson, but she lost the ability to, it must have been like in her throat, because she had trouble swallowing, talking without choking, and she went to the Parkinson Voice project, and it literally elongated her life by many years. That she was able to swallow, that she was able to eat, that she was able to talk. Not being able to talk is a terrible way to live, right? So I am very thankful personally for the work that you guys do. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Hi, y'all. I'm so excited I'm here. So I know I only have I want to explain to y'all what we do and how you could help. We are a non-profit with the sole purpose of helping folks with Parkinson's regain and retain their speech and swallowing. Sorry, more loud? Is that what you're saying? Oh, closer. Sorry. Is that better? There we go. Yeah, so I heard her so well. I felt like I was, okay, here we go. And so we are celebrating our 20th year. Since 2008, we have been fully funded by grateful patients, families, and generous donors in Richardson and around. We are all over the world. We provide speech therapy. We developed the program Speak Out Therapy. And folks with Parkinson's without Speak Out Therapy are at risk of losing their voice. As Jenny was saying, it's very common. Some signs and symptoms of a speech problem with Parkinson's are a weak, soft voice, a gravelly voice, a flat, monotone voice, a fast speech, slow speech, trailing off at the end of a sentence, or speech that's great in the morning and awful in the afternoon. So all of this is Parkinson's is a motor disease. It responds really well to exercise. So we take patients through 6 exercises and we teach them the power of intent. Intent is speaking on purpose, saying things like you mean it. And Parkinson's is tricky. They can learn that, but they still have to practice every day. Gives a sensory deficit to people. They don't recognize that their speech is fading. So that's why it makes it even harder to treat them, because they're not recognizing it. If I told y'all how many times I did an evaluation of a new patient, wife is there and he says, I don't have a problem. It's her hearing. I mean, it happens all the time. So of that, because if you look in the literature, you don't see that a lot, but there's a sensory deficit with Parkinson's. So we treat people locally. We have a clinic right on Coit. You probably have seen it. Have you? Yes. Okay. You are welcome to come for a tour anytime you want. We're closed on Fridays, but otherwise you are welcome. We, as a nonprofit, we do not charge for any of our services. We are able to treat patients exactly what they need without charge. We had a change over. We were serving everyone in the clinic, and then the clinic shut down. Our founder and CEO, Samantha, worried about all the patients who we couldn't see anymore in the clinic, and so she did her first Zoom session from home the day after she closed the clinic in March. And, it'll be a week or two and we're back. Of course, that's not what happened, we know, but it turned into a really important silver. What we found is that she was all over the world jump on our website every day and do their daily speak out home practice, and it really has helped them get better. It's a fun way to practice with others, and it's helping them do better and maintain the progress that they're making. We have replicated what we're doing now at our headquarters in Richardson, and our vision is that everyone in America would have access to speak out therapy without charge. So to make that happen, we have a grant program, and our vision is to have one speak out therapy in every state in the country, embedded in a university who trains speech language just in their clinic. And so, why are you waving at me?
No, it's a yay.
Oh, that's a yay. Oh, good. Yeah, it's so yay. Thank you. It is a yay. I agree. And so now in 28 states in the country, people with Parkinson's are receiving Speak Out therapy without charge. We are so excited, and we've also trained thousands of other speech language pathologists over the years all over the world so that they are treating them as well. So your homework is take a brochure. If you know anyone with Parkinson's, they need Speak Out therapy. It's an easy sell. It's free. We're here to help. We have a wealth of services on our website. We have programming. We have a Parkinson's family education group where we educate care partners and their families on the trickiness of Parkinson's. And so this journey, and we are just here to help. I'm going to say one more thing. On October the 9th, you are welcome to join us. A little flyer down there, but this is a very important book. I'm not sure how much you know about Parkinson's, but you might think, yeah, genetic, doesn't really affect me. They are now, researchers are very comfortable saying 85% of the time Parkinson's is not due to genetics. Do you know what it's to? Anyone? That's exactly right. Yes. Pesticides and pollutions, which mean all of you and your people are at risk. Many things that we can do as a country, as a world differently to change this. So Ray Dorsey and Michael Oken are neurologists who are at the forefront of research. I will wait. Talk amongst yourself. Okay. And this book is compelling, inspiring, and it may freak you out in a good way. So it's just been released. We are hosting Dr. Oakham at our clinic October the 9th. We are doing a live meeting. You can all join, but I encourage you, get the book and see what you can do. The back of the book has 25 tips to prevent Parkinson's and to live better. They can help all of you. The number one thing in there, who can guess? I need some answers. What is the one thing you could do to help prevent Parkinson's, or if you already have it, lessen? Anyone? Exercise. You know what? That's a good answer. It's not that, but you're right. It's a very important part. Well, yes. So even more of that. So he said go organic. They do recommend that strongly for fruits and vegetables. Washing them. How many of you wash your vegetables and fruits? So I was not one. I thought that's so silly. I'm not. Who's got time, right? We don't have time. But I encourage you. And the easiest way I do, I mean, Google it. But I don't like. There are the dirty dozen of the worst fruits and vegetables. Think berries, kale, right? Strawberries, things you eat the outside skin, of course. Peppers, kale, those are really bad. But anyway, wash them. Dump them into a bowl in the sink. Put about 1/3 cup of vinegar per cup of water. I just have a gunk under the sink of vinegar from Walmart for I think about $2. Swish it for 5 minutes and then rinse it and you're good. It makes a difference. So if that's one thing I want to. Any questions, anybody? Just know that we are here, and if you know anyone with Parkinson's, tell them about us. Much for inviting me. Yes, ma'am.
If anybody wants to talk to somebody who's been through the program, just come up and tap us.
I love it. Yay. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Jen. I am not. I have to head home, but well, please do. But then I have my card, so y'all can certainly call me. But yes, I'm happy to. Yes, of course. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. We are. So yeah, look us up there. We are. Yes, ma'am. So that would be the National Day of North Texas Giving Day. Thank you very much. There's acronyms for everything. We are registered for that. Your dollars are helping people with Parkinson's find their voice and prevent a swallowing problem. Left untreated, Parkinson's speech turns into a swallowing problem. And unfortunately, that is where a lot of people have problems and avoidable. So thank y'all so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. And thank you for the work that you do there. It's really important. It makes a big difference in people's lives, and we can be a part of it by helping spread the word and donate. Always an opportunity. And it's not, every opportunity that we bring you is not like, we're not telling you this is yours, this is yours, but every opportunity that we bring can be, oh, like that's something that resonates with me, and I want to start, getting involved with that. So, thank you again. In case you guys don't know, it's election season is starting to ramp up, and we're number one. I want to say this before I say anything else. If you're thinking that you might want to run for office, or if you are knowing somebody who's talked to you about it, start talking a little bit louder, because there are opportunities. We need to fill every seat on the ballot. Every race needs to have a Democrat running for it. There'll be, tons of people running for one office and nobody running for 10 offices. When we don't have the opportunity, we're definitely not going to win that race. So even here in the Richardson area, we have HD 33, House District 33. That's a state level house in County, and it goes out that way, but we don't have a person to run for that yet. We're looking, we're keeping our ears open, and I am biting my tongue to not say something that I want to, but I had a really good conversation today about 112. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say I'm excited about 112, House District 112. So we will see what happens if I have an announcement to make next time. But I know that there are some judicial candidates here tonight. If you'd raise your hand. We've got some people back here that are running for justice. Oh, there's 3. Good. Hey, it's good to see you. Y'all talk to them. We need to hire good, fair, justice-minded judges. Not people that are just going to rubber stamp what the GOP wants to have happen. We're going to elect people that will do the right thing, not just bend the knee. So thank you for coming tonight. Please circulate, talk to people. If you want to help on anybody, this is going to be the thing. There's going to be a lot of candidates coming in here in the next several months. Coming up in March, and it's going to keep on ramping up. There's going to be, I'm sorry, I didn't even introduce Alex for Texas is running for the state, or for U.S. Senate. So there's going to be a lot more people coming to our groups, to our get-togethers. What I want you to take away from that is you get to actually meet these people. This is a great opportunity to find out what they're about, to tell them what's important to you, because they're our representatives. They're here to take what we have to say on to the next level. So please talk to the people, the candidates that come in here. Somebody just came in that I want to recognize, Dan Barrios, our councilman. Dan Barrios, Richardson City Councilman. Thank you for coming. Is there anybody else here that is elected or running that I haven't? Okay. The next thing that I'm going to is introduce our speaker. Mark Wingfield was introduced to me by Sandy Sweeney, who is, I guess, a friend of yours. I don't know how she knows you. Oh, their kids used to date. Sandy Sweeney couldn't be here tonight. She's out of the state, but she introduced Mark and said, I think that he would be a good speaker for us because Mark is a former pastor of a progressive Baptist church in Dallas, Wilshire Baptist. And yes, there is such a thing. It actually is not a unicorn. It's a church down in Dallas. Several years, and when he left that, he went into back into journalism and had Baptist News source, I guess. What is it called?
Baptist News Global.
Baptist News Global. So tonight he's going to come up and talk to us about the importance of the separation of church and state. And without further ado, Mark, please come on up.
Thanks so much. All right, so I'm a journalist most of my career, as you just heard. So I was 21 years a journalist, 17 years a pastor, and now it all sort of runs together in some way. But I've lived in Lake Highlands for 26 years, have two kids who went through Richardson ISD, through the Lake Highlands part of that, and went off to TCU, and then we're at North Texas doing master's degrees. They're both one of them, yeah, that's really productive, isn't it? That's why one of them is living at home right now. The other, though, is in the U.S. Coast Guard Band in Connecticut and having a great time there. So fantastic education in Richardson ISD from Moss Haven Elementary, and just had a fabulous experience most of the time with the education there. So we're very thankful for all that Richardson has done for us. So I'll talk a little bit more about what I do just in brief, but I want to sort of preface this by saying I really do best with question and answer. So I'm going to say a few things. Now, the last group I spoke to, they asked me to say a few comments before Q&A, and I talked 40 minutes. That will not be this. I've got just a very few things to say, and I really would love to engage in conversation because there may be things that matter to you to know, and I am in a position to know a little bit about a whole lot of things. So we'll see how that goes. So I have a journalism degree from the University of New Mexico. I grew up in Oklahoma and New Mexico, ended up going to seminary over in Fort Worth after graduating with a journalism degree, spent the first 21 years of my career in denominational journalism. So I've been in Baptist life. I grew up Southern Baptist, but that was the presenting issue at the time. So then ended up being the associate pastor, executive pastor at Wilshire for 17 years, and I've served on the board of this national nonprofit news service called Baptist News Global. Check us out at baptistnews.com, and 5+ years ago, they invited me to run the thing, and we're a very small shop. We've got a mighty influence. People are reading us, right? So we specialize in the intersection of faith and culture and politics and current events. All of these things are what we're writing about. And you may say, why would I? The most lovely thing I hear all the time, other than when people call me, when someone says, I can't believe a source called Baptist News wrote this. And they say that both and that the primary thing that I think is important for me to talk about tonight, that I hope we can engage in some conversation about, is the intersection of the first two parts of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. So in case you've forgotten your civics lesson lately, there are 5 freedoms guaranteed by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Our very first one is the freedom of religion. Our first freedom is the freedom of religion. Number 2 is the freedom of the press. Number 3 is the freedom of speech. Number 4 is the freedom to assemble together, like we are here tonight, without coercion. And the fifth one is the freedom to protest against the government, which some of you have been doing today already, I understand. These things are all bundled together, and we could talk about each of them, but what I want to focus on tonight is the intersection of the freedom of religion or religious liberty and the freedom of the press, because those are the two worlds I live in that intersect. And the attack on one today is an attack on the other. Those who believe in the freedom of religion today also do not believe in the freedom of the press. And this is a coordinated, I like so many things that happened this week that I could jump off on. It's hard to even know where to begin, but let me begin by the first news of today, and I'll go backward perhaps, and that is James Dobson died today. You all know James Dobson, right? Founder of Focus on the Family, and pretty much the inventor of the notion of, here come my air quotes, family values, right? Very little family and very little value. But he invented this term, and if I only read Twitter or TwitX now because I have to for work, because it's a cesspool, y'all. But if you go there today, you will see the extreme emotions that people have about James Dobson. Franklin Graham praising him as a great saint of God. This man ruined my life with his position on child rearing, and particularly his hatred and venom for the LGBTQ community. Not to mention the damage he's done to women through all of that complementarianism and everything. So it's interesting that we are gathered here tonight on the day this man died, who was never elected to any office. No one ever invited him to do anything, but yet through the sheer power of marketing, he became a prominent influence that shaped American culture, and particularly the GOP. So you need to understand that three of the most prominent advocacy groups for the far right in America today are offshoots of Focus on the Family. And among those is, well, the Heritage Foundation is adjacent to it. I just completely lost my train of thought on there. But there's three of them, right? And they're involved in the legal work, like the Masterpiece Cake Shop case that went to the Supreme Court. That was a product of this group. They're out recruiting plaintiffs for these things. And so we just cannot understate the influence this one man has had. And even though he is dead, his influence lives on. It's horribly and sadly, but it is still with us, and it still empowers so many people along the way. Then I can back up this week and come to our goofy Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick.
Oh my God.
Thank you. I feel like I need cue cards up here. Applause and boo. Like this is like a vaudeville show, right, or a melodrama. Dan Patrick, you heard what he did this week, right? I guess this was actually last Friday when the Senate was convening for the second crazy special session, and our dear friend Angela Paxton gave the invocation that was full of flowery Christian language, and Dan Patrick got upset because some people in the gallery would not stand for the invocation. And as soon as the prayer was over, he stood there stone-faced, as he is, and those who would not stand, and said the next time they came, if they didn't stand, he would have them evicted from the Senate chamber because they are disrespecting the Senate. Well, I don't think he can actually do that. Yes, the presiding officer of the Senate does have wide let me refer you back to the First Amendment. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech. All of these things go together, but from Dan Patrick's worldview, the James Dobson stern father model of seeing the world, and damn it, he is going to tell you what to do, and you ought to darn well be happy about it. So just imagine a drill sergeant father with kids in tow, like Captain Von Trapp before he's enlightened in The Sound of Music, right? who's whistling at his kids. And this is what James Dobson has done to American Republican politics. And so this idea of a stern father has seeped its way into the political scene, a religious undercoating to it that allows someone like Dan Patrick to do this. Now, interestingly enough, I wrote a story about this on Monday, and it's going to turn out to be one of our best-selling stories this week because people are reading it. It got linked to a story on MSN written by my friend Graves Fitzsimmons, who works with a fabulous group called Interfaith Alliance. If you don't know about Interfaith Alliance, I'd encourage you to look them up. Paul Rauschenbusch is the executive director. They're based in D.C. They do fabulous work, and I highly recommend you knowing about them because they are promoting the very things we're talking about here tonight. Back to the main point. The battle for religious liberty, battle for freedom of press are the same battle. I wrote another piece this week that's explaining what evangelicals have won. And Peter Smith, who writes for the Associated Press, is a religion writer. I riffed off his excellent piece that he had done on 10 things evangelicals have gotten from the Trump administration. But first and foremost among those are two things: credibility for their cause, and number two, acknowledgement of their grievances. Sorry, I almost used a bad word there. Evangelicals in America, a grievance that they are the redheaded stepchild of American life for decades, all of my life. I'm 60, right? Having grown up in that culture. And they've wanted access to power, and now they have that access to power. And what do they want to do with it? They want to negate parts of the First Amendment. And it's very easy to understand when you think about how this works with their religious liberty. So the First Amendment has two clauses, and this is rudimentary, pardon me if I'm, I'll be fast on this. Two clauses about religion in the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law regarding an establishment of religion, called the Establishment Clause, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, the Free Expression Clause, right? These two things are the bedrock, and they work in tension with each other. Yes, we have freedom of religion in America so long as that freedom does not become established by any government to exclude someone else. So this is why also this week, just yesterday, we had this judge, thank God, rule that the Texas 10 Commandments law is not going to stand constitutional muster. And a middle school civics Richardson ISD should know that, right? I mean, it's just that basic, but the play here is to try to ram everything through and reinterpret what the real words mean. And so what the evangelicals and the Republicans are about on religious liberty is bringing the Free Exercise Clause to be preeminent over the Establishment Clause. And why do they believe this? Because they believe falsely that America was as a Christian nation. This is the starting point for what they're doing. And they sincerely believe, and there's idiots like David Barton out there who are false prophets writing about this and saying this is the way it was when it really wasn't. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole unless you want to. But when you believe America was founded as a Christian nation, then you have no problem saying, well, then Christianity ought to be given preference in this world. Therefore, we ought to be able to post the 10 Commandments. I mean, as a pastor, I would much rather us post the Beatitudes than the 10 Commandments. But no one in Austin wants to do that because, I mean, they're not even keeping the 10 Commandments. They're way off on the Beatitudes. If you remember what Robert Jeffress said the first time Trump was running for president, he said, I absolutely do not want a president or a party that is going to follow the Beatitudes. The man said this. This is the pastor of First Baptist Dallas who said, I want the meanest son of a bitch I can find to do what needs. I do not want a Sunday school teacher. It's in Texas Monthly. Go look it up. You can find it online, right? This is what Robert Jeffress said, because he's speaking their attitude on this. And so the idea is they want to elevate their freedom of religion, not Muslim freedom, not Hindu freedom of religion, not mainline Christianity freedom of religion, not Catholic freedom of religion, but conservative evangelical James Dobson freedom of religion to be the dominant force. And if you believe that, and in violation of the Establishment Clause. And sadly, the current U.S. Supreme Court has bought into this nonsense in several important cases, not the least of which is Bremerton versus Board of Education in Oregon, this part-time junior varsity assistant football coach in Oregon who wanted to hold prayer services at the 50-yard line after games that were clearly unconstitutional and coercive. And this case, with the help of a Dobson affiliate, made it all the way to the Supreme Court, and the lawyers for the coach stood in front of the U.S. Supreme Court and lied about what he was doing, and the Supreme Court justices on the right did not challenge what they were told that was blatantly wrong, because they needed a win. This very narrow coach, who, by the way, never showed up to work again. He claimed he wanted the job back, but given the opportunity to come back, he had already moved to another state. The man this was all a setup. And so I'm just telling you all these stories to try to paint a picture of how there is an agenda being played out to undermine religious liberty in America today, and it runs on parallel tracks to the agenda to undo press freedom. Why does Trump, from the beginning, discredit the mainstream media? Because they're the only ones telling the truth about him, right? They are the biggest threat to him. This is dictator authoritarian 101. Look it up. And so all of this has had a corrosive, I sound like a lawyer now, this has had a corrosive effect on our American and trust of the news. So for someone like me, who's a journalist, we're a small operation, CNN, but this distrust is so strong and so embedded that if you could see the emails I get every find our content and say, you are the Antichrist, you're evil, you're Nazis, you're misguided, you're going straight to hell, all of these things from these conservative evangelicals who can only see the world through one view. So that's the premise of what I want to talk about tonight. But conversation with you about that. What has this sparked in you that you like? Ask me anything, and if I don't know, I'll make some up. Yeah. Yes. 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 Okay. Yes, I will. Yeah, thank you. So the question is about the threat of Christian nationalism and what can we do to counter Christian nationalism. Number one, you need to call it what it is. It is not only Christian nationalism, it is white Christian nationalism. It takes all three words to get it together. And this is not unique, happening all over the world in different places, but it is really vicious here because of our history, right? I know the people involved with, called Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty. They're based in D.C. Their executive director is Amanda Tyler, who lives here in Dallas. Would be great someone to come talk to your group. Amanda is a member at Royal Lane Baptist Church in Dallas. Her husband is Jewish. It's the Temple Emmanuel in Dallas. So they have an interfaith family, right? So Amanda leads a group called Christians Against Christian Nationalism. They have their own website. Go look it up. Christians Against Christian Nationalism. You can join. this group. You can get their updates. Texas is such a ground zero for this effort that they have put a field organizer here in North Texas working to rally on these things. So I'll give you one sec. Yeah. So Christians Against Christian Nationalism. Christian nationalism is not a new thing. It just has a new name. Yeah. I grew up in Oklahoma through 11th grade in a Southern Baptist church in suburban Oklahoma City where, y'all, I didn't know a single black person. I didn't know a single Jew. I knew one Catholic friend, and my dear friend down the street was Methodist, and we prayed for her mortal soul every Wednesday night at church. So I came out of that culture. We were Christian nationalists before we knew what that was. So this is a real thing. Amanda Tyler also has a book out called How to Defeat Christian Nationalism. And I recommend that. Yes, sir. Oh, empathy. Yeah, it's a sin. Did you know? Yeah, so I'm trying to use clean words. Just remember, I'm not a pastor anymore, right? So forgiveness here. Has gotten much more profane since I'm working at home at the dining room table. And good God, these days, what are you going to do, right? So there are some people in the conservative evangelical industrial complex that have decided that they're going to wage war on empathy. And we hear this, I mean, just literally on the way up here tonight, I'm listening to, and I'm hearing a report where J.D. Vance is talking about rounding up homeless people in D.C. Passionate thing is not to leave them out here on the streets, but to get them treatment. I don't disagree with that. But whose party was it who did away with treatment for mentally ill people? Whose party is it who's undercut funding for the man? It's the wrong kind of treatment. And it's not even available, even if it's there. So that's a whole other thing. But empathy. So there are several folks. One of the chief of these. I mean, interesting scene in Heaven or Hell lately. You got James Dobson showing up, and you have this other guy from California named John MacArthur, who's a fundamentalist Baptist pastor, really has done more damage, as much damage as James Dobson has. And he died a few weeks ago. And he is one of the sources of this empathy is a sin business, because he was about as much fun as a barrel of snakes. Really mean, hard-nosed pastor, extreme Calvinism, and people flocked to hear him, though, because he preached certainty and answers, right? And in his view, again, we're posting the Ten Commandments, not the Beatitudes, and he's not going to be about the... This is a man who refused to close down his church during COVID, and the church became an epicenter of COVID outbreaks because freedom of religion is what he said. And he actually won his case against Los Angeles County and the state of California. So then you have this lovely, delightful woman named Megan Basham, who is a gadfly out there writing for an organization called the Daily Wire. She calls herself a journalist, and I think that's a misnomer all the way around. She is a muckraker of the first order, and she is someone who believes in male domination and is a female telling us how males should dominate us. So just go work that one out if you can. She is one of the people who has also stirred this up. Dobson, J.D. Vance, and others have perpetuated this idea. And you remember the whole thing from J.D. Vance about Odo Amoris, this cat, right? And he was so screwed up in what he said, the Pope had to correct him. The whole thing is completely upside down, but you've got to justify your cruelty. And the point of the entire MAGA movement is cruelty. How mean, and how can we demonstrate that meanness as well? This is the whole MO of Trump. This is why this is a marriage for them. It all works together. Next question. Yeah, over here. Yeah, so well, the question is, what percentage of people who follow me are Trump loyalists, and what percentage of people in America are Trump loyalists? Or the part, right? So I've done a pretty good job of running off most of the Trump loyalists, although they still do wander by. So we have a lot of what I call drive-by traffic. People come by, and so some of my conservative friends who are Southern Baptist pastors say, I really like your news stories, but I don't like your opinion stuff, so I won't read that. We have news, opinion, and analysis pieces on our site. So it's sort of a mixed thing for some of them, but they do think I'm the devil in this, and there are other publications that will not even reference our work because of that. One of the greatest sources on the evangelical number business is from Public Religion Research Institute, PRRI, run by a guy named Robert P. Jones, the author of that great book, Quite Too Long, and two others as well. Robbie writes for us about once a month, and he is one of the most brilliant researchers and writers on this subject. And here is the thing you've got to understand. This is why gerrymandering is the only way to get control of things for the Republicans today. They are a minority. They absolutely know they're a minority, and the only way they're going to keep control is by rigging the system. When, Trump, he is confessional every time he accuses someone. This is a narcissist speaking, right? He is confessional every time he accuses someone. He's talking about what he does, right? And so when he says the system is rigged, that's because he knows how to rig the system. What's going on with this? But evangelicals are a shrinking part of American culture. We have a whole long conversation about this. But the problem is they show up and vote. And people like us are less prone to show up and vote. And so when you hear the appeal to get out and vote, I mean, it really, really matters.
Well, they are playing out to college campuses.
Oh, yeah, they're working. Yeah. So Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, this is a faith-based movement that is working on college campuses, right? And the statistics overall are that in America today, the less likely you are to be Republican or supportive of the MAGA agenda. But that is not entirely the case. And particularly, we live in this conservative North Dallas, Richardson, suburban culture. There are plenty of as well happening along the way. Yeah. I do not know Tim Alberta. I've written about him. I wish I wrote the book he wrote because he's a millionaire now. And my books have not sold nearly as well. He hit the right spot at the right time. And it's a great book. The Kingdom, the Power, and the Glory. Yeah. Okay, there was another question over. Yes.
I've got one.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. Maybe the question's not fair. Maybe because I'm asking you to make a prediction.
Okay.
So when we think a lot about like evangelical arguments in government about specifically religious freedom and First Amendment right, what I'm seeing right now, which isn't tested in court just yet, especially when the evangelical says, my religion says that sex, gender is immutable,
Right.
or I can violate workplace discrimination laws. And we're not seeing this like tested just yet at the higher levels of appeals courts or we could do 2 months. What constitutional arguments do you think that our side has to be able to protect this erosion of freedoms from a First Amendment standard?
Okay, so now you're in my wheelhouse exactly. This is a question about gender identity and sexual orientation and the law. So part of what was not said earlier about my experience is 8 years ago, I strangely and surprisingly became an ally for the transgender community in America. It's been one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. And if you Google my name and transgender, you'll find all of this. And then I wrote a book. I've got 5 books out, and one of them is called why churches need to talk about sexuality, and it's about our own church's journey to become inclusive through an 18-month study and all the things we learned in there. And these two, and I have a TED Talk out there you can find called "The Baptist Pastor and His Transgender Friends," that was given in Charlottesville, Virginia on election in 2016. Talk about a depressed group of people who were gathered for a TED Talk. And here I am doing that. Two or three things to say about this. The evangelicals have turned hatred for the LGBTQ community and particularly the trans community into an article of faith. They have tried to make this a theological argument when it is not a theological argument. So much of what they say, the Bible says, the Bible doesn't say. And particularly on gender identity, it's just simply not there. And there's a lot of historical evidence. And the 6 clobber passages that are used most frequently against the gay community, we can pick those apart one by one. And my book does that. Some other great books do that as well. I highly recommend a book called God and the Gay Christian, who also lives here in Dallas now, and is a really great. Matthew was a sophomore at Harvard. He was from Kansas, raised Presbyterian, decided he was gay, realized he was gay while he was at Harvard. Went home. His dad said, "If you can prove to me from the Bible that it's okay, then I'll accept you." And he took a semester and a summer off from school and did this massive research project that became this book. And he now leads a group called the Reformation Project. And Matthew is the most orthodox, affirming Christian I know. Like, he out-orthodoxes me any day of the week. And that's a great book. But this agenda is out of fear. It is out of fear for the other. It's the same thing that they fear immigrants and they fear anyone like them. But here's the other dirty little secret. They fear what is not known about themselves. So much of the anti-gay agenda is driven by people who are secretly gay. I mean, Lindsey Graham. Just, do I even have to say anything more about that, right? I mean, it's just the oldest song in the book, right? But the transphobia, I mean, we're back now to where the Texas legislature is passing bathroom bills they couldn't pass 8 years ago because they're so emboldened with their agenda on things. And it's just the nuttiest thing ever, because the trans community is a minority within a minority. It's such a small percentage. And I'm going to tell you, I know more trans people than any Baptist pastor you know. I've had personal conversations with trans folks and their families. And the story is all the same. There is a consistency to this where every person says to me, I knew when I was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, I was in the wrong body. Well, you just don't make this stuff up, y'all, right? And just like the conversion therapy model of Exodus International has been debunked on the gay side, we have this knowledge if anyone's willing to listen, but they're not willing to listen because they need a boogeyman. And the boogeyman is got to be someone who can't fight back because they're too small. And this is, again, back to the cruelty. So back to your question, what are the odds on this and how do we argue against this? So argue about this is we keep talking about it over and over and over, and we do not let them win the argument. Because as a communicator, one of the, what I call Mark's number one rule of communication, crisis communication, is you're always better off telling your own story for you. And what these evangelicals have done is they've taken over the narrative of the transgender story and told it in a way they think is right, and they've left the actual story of people in the trans community out. And we've got to, if you do not know a trans person, if you've never had a conversation with a trans person, find someone to talk to and listen. Listen, because it will change your life. When I wrote an article in 2016 in May, this new service I now run called 7 Things I'm Learning About Transgender People. And it was my discovery there's a pediatrician who was in our church and gave a presentation that just blew my mind. I've never had thought about this stuff before, about how biology and chemistry and all of this works, right? And I wrote about this, and that to this day is the most read item that's ever been published on our website. It has more than 1 million page views, and it happened rapidly within a matter of 2 weeks. And I had one of the things I said in the article was, and within hours, I was getting emails and text messages and Facebook messages from trans folks who said, I'll be your transgender friend. And I started going to lunch and coffee and dinner with folks, many of whom are still dear friends to me today, who simply sat down in a restaurant or a coffee shop and told me their story, and I shut up and listened. And that, you've got to set aside your preconceived notions and actually use the 2 ears God gave you to hear and shut the one. Right? All right. Yes, in the back. Oh, that's a hallelujah. All right, we got some Pentecostals with us tonight. Right back here. Yeah. One more time? Yeah, the bathroom bill in Texas. So I just heard about it tonight on cable.
She said that it's going to be up for a vote tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Up for a vote tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. HB 8? Yeah. The other thing to watch, by the way, and I wrote about this week as well, there's a House bill and a Senate bill version that's about making illegal the 2 abortion medications, mail order medications. But buried within it is an effort to undermine and negate what's called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, RFRA. In both of those versions, the Senate and the House version, this bizarre reference, it doesn't refer to RFRA by name, but it refers to the section of the legal code that is RFRA, and says that this bill, this law, negates any claim under that section related to abortion.
You need to be clear on that. Because
So Religious Freedom Restoration Act dates to the 90s nationally. It was a bipartisan coalition that created this legislation to ensure that if government is going to infringe upon anyone's religious practice, they've got to have a compelling reason to do so, and to do so in the least invasive way possible. It institutionalized something called the Lemon Test. And through this, conservatives and liberals alike loved this bill, except now in the abortion fight, particularly in places like Texas, you have Jewish people and mainline Christians and some others who say, wait a minute, my belief includes belief in abortion, not against abortion. And so your religious belief is against abortion, but my religious belief, you are violating my religious freedom. And what this bill would do is negate any claim for someone who does not hold, again, the conservative evangelical view on abortion from making a claim under RFRA.
But it also negates all the other claims you would have under RFRA.
I think it's specific to abortion. I think, if I'm reading it right.
Merrill Lee is, and the Texas Impact is saying that that's the true trouble with it, is that it takes away all of that from.
Regardless, it's bad.
It's very bad.
It's very bad and needs to be opposed. And it's up for a vote this week too, probably Thursday. Well, maybe tomorrow. Well, here's the other thing. Yeah, so the Senate one started off as Senate Bill 1122, then became Senate Bill 8, and then Senate Bill 6, Senate Bill 8. I think it's now called 8 in this session. All right, another question. And I know we're running out of time, right?
No.
Are we good? Yeah, ask a question. Yeah.
Well, I want, number one, we're going for the bathroom bill, we're going for the RFRA bill,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't heard that the people that need help with the flood are being dealt with. The infrastructure bill is like to the side still because we've got these important things
Right.
taking precedent. Now that we've got the redistricting out of the way, we're going to start on these other bullshit bills
Yes.
that are just mean-spirited. But my other thing, what I want to say is, I believe that James Dobson was the guy that back in the, I want to say early 70s, maybe into the early 80s, was the guy that the government, Republicans said, our agenda of fiduciary fiscal conservancy is not a popular thing.
Right.
So they got the religious right. That was what they were called back then.
Right.
We were called. I was one. Sorry, I'm saved. But the Christians. So they made that about abortion.
Yes, and that was Jerry Falwell also.
And now that we have abortion off the thing, now we've got transgender.
Right.
It needs to be. It always has to be a boogeyman with them.
Always a
because they
boogeyman.
lose people, but now they're losing evangelicals because there's not evangelicals in the world as much as there were. So they've got to just inflame people.
Yeah, so there's a perpetual series of boogeymen out of this, and it's Dobson and Falwell together who help form the moral majority,
Moral majority.
right? And they make abortion, they discover that abortion would be the issue, right? And that's going to galvanize people. Such an extent that they oversimplified a very complicated issue. I mean, some of y'all know firsthand what it's like to have an ectopic pregnancy or a miscarriage or any of these things that maybe you need a DNC. And today, so my own in Plano will not live in Texas right now because she is of childbearing age and doesn't think it's safe for her to do so. She's in Connecticut,
Smart woman.
right? Here you go, right? Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Have you made or printed a list?
Wait a minute, Carol.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
he was. Well, I'll get to you
Sorry,
next.
go.
No, go ahead. Have I made or printed a list?
Made or printed a list of the things we lost. We've lost abortion. We've lost my brain's.
So
a list.
there is a list. I published it this week. It's an article. If you go to my site, it's a piece I wrote called "What They Gained," and it's what evangelicals have gained at the expense of everyone else. And there's 10 things on the list.
And say your website again.
BaptistNews.com. Baptist News. Also, just Google my name, Mark Wingfield, and I am not the bass guitarist in London. I'm the other Mark Wingfield. I mean, he's really good, and I do like his stuff, but that's not me. Now, there was another question right over here. Yes. Okay, so the question is, as a religious person, do I believe God lines up the genes on gender and sexuality, or do I believe it's some kind of natural selection or something happening, right? Anniversary of the Scopes trial this summer. Same thing, 103rd verse, right? I was talking to someone earlier tonight. This goes back to the Crusades. I mean, there's just been an agenda of promoting some form of Christian nationalism for ever and ever, right? And this all comes to play in this. Again, I am capable of going to the Old Testament, the Hebrew Scriptures of Judaism, and the New Testament, the Scriptures in Greek of Christianity, and I've got the education to. And I was teaching a Sunday school lesson just this past Sunday. I'm teaching through word by word the Apostles' Creed. Yeah, Apostles' Creed. And we got to this line, born of the Virgin Mary. Well, do you know what? The biblical text does not use the word virgin. That is an English translation. What the text actually says in the gospel, in Luke, is she had not known a man. Well, that's certainly not perpetual virginity, y'all. So here again, I tell you that story to say that a lot of what gets blamed on the Bible in our understanding of gender and sexual orientation is just simply not there. It is manufactured, it's translated. There's a great documentary out, 1963, the year the Bible changed. Is it 1963? I think it's what it is. And that's the year the RSV version of the Bible, for the first time, used the word homosexual in it. That was never in an English translation of the Bible before then, because it's not in the Greek. It is not there. But these Bible translators took this, and then other translations followed their lead, and we ended up with a word in the New Testament text in English that's not really there. And so this is where I think the Jewish faith, as it relates to the Hebrew Scriptures, is much more honest about this in so many ways, to say what the Scripture actually says and what it doesn't say, and what is the Talmudic tradition and the interpretation of this that spans a long time in a lot of different cultures as well. So no, I think, my view, you're asking my view is that God has created a world that is diverse and different and full of all kinds of people, and we need to celebrate the diversity and not seek conformity about it. This is evident in all of creation. I mean, we can see this in salamanders, but we can't see it in people, right? And it just also takes some common sense. I know I have a lot of gay friends. I have a lot of transgender friends. And there's not a one of them who would say, I just woke up one day and decided I wanted to be this way. It just doesn't work that way. But to some people, they think that's what happened. And you don't blame the Bible for your bigotry. All right. Another question? I know we're rambling on here. One last question from anyone? Is that good? All right. BaptistNews.com, Mark Wingfield. My latest book is called Honestly Telling the Truth About the Bible and Ourselves, and it gets into a lot of this stuff as well. BaptistNews.com. BaptistNews.com. Yep.
Thank you so much. What a great conversation. Thank you guys for hanging out and participating. Thank you, Mark, for coming tonight. This was a real treat. I am going to, we're gonna get out of here in just a minute, but guess what? There are two opportunities that you have to get plugged in, get activated right away. Number one, we have on Saturday morning, Mari has been heading up a weekly protest right here in Richardson. We, this last Saturday, we're at the corner of the southeast corner of 75 and Campbell, right there by Russo's Pizza, I think it's called. And we park underneath, come up here, and we had 75 people there last week, y'all. And it was pretty powerful. You'd be surprised at how many people were going by and thumbs up and honking and waving and clapping for us. It was so nice. And there was a middle finger that came up too, but like that only, like the negative that proves the positive, right? So on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock, we're going to be out there on the corner, the southeast corner of 75 and Campbell. We're going to be there until we don't need to do that anymore. Lots of shade. The dart rail goes over it, so we can stand in the shade there. It's a great place to protest, and lots of people. We had people coming down from Sherman and out from Rockwall that came over. So come and join us. It's right here in your backyard. And then we're going to do lunch afterwards at one of the restaurants there at the place, because I want to patronize the restaurant so that we're not just some, crazy group coming in there and using up their spaces and stuff. So plan to come on Saturday. It's from 10 to 11, and then we'll get some lunch afterwards. Okay. And then the other thing that we have that's going to be going on weekly, maybe 2 times a week, is the Bridge Brigade. We tonight, before our meeting, we had people standing up on the bridge at Collins over 75, and we have fabulous signage that everybody that goes by can't help but notice. It's going to be out there at 4:30 to 6.
Yeah, 4 to 6.
4 to 6 on Thursday evenings, and then on Saturday from 9 to 10. So from 9 to 10 you can park at the something Cafe Max on Collins and walk over with everybody and stand up there. It doesn't matter if you have, I mean, the little signs probably don't matter. We've got huge signage, 15 by 25. And we are going to be out there twice a week just showing up. Every time somebody stands up for what is right, it emboldens other people to stand up. Right? Sina? Bring flags and wear sunscreen. On both days you should do that, but on Saturday morning at the corner will be you can bring all your signs, and it's a lot of fun. It's a real shot in the arm to be around people that are having a good time, showing up and speaking out, exercising our First Amendment right to protest and to speak out.
Do you want me to pull out the sign?
Can you?
It's in my car.
No, but thank you. Glenna, did you have something to say? I can't hear you. Come up.
So, on the protest at 75 in Campbell, is that a single issue protest? Because there's about 50?
Yeah, you can, whatever your posters, and I'm kind of a professional protest sign maker, so I bring my stack too if you don't have one. So, but no, it's, you know, any issue, because there's just so many to choose from. I mean,
And then I have seen some videos on when I'm doom scrolling on Substack of maggots, and I don't care if you don't like that term, okay, just so everybody knows. Attacking and tearing down bridge signs. So for heaven's sake, I hate to say this, you need to have beer spray with you. Pepper spray, whatever kind of spray that there is, because they are a danger, and on that bridge, they can push you off.
that's true.
So be ready. It's not, I mean, hallelujah, nothing like that is all the time against you, but it's getting you Baptist now. Even though I'm Unitarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, please be careful on those bridges.
When we're out doing our protests, we need to be as like non-confrontational. People might want to come up against us, but we are not there to argue. We're not there to fight. We are there to be heard, have our voice heard, and we have not had any trouble. We had a guy that was yelling at us, but he didn't do nothing. I said, please call the police, and he said he didn't care to call the police, and I said, well, I will. So there was no problems. We had no problems, and I don't anticipate us having problems, but we go with the idea that we're going to be peacefully protesting. We're not going to be confrontational, and we're just going to be out there having our voices heard. The police, we have got permits and whatever. We've gotten our.
He said if there's any remote problems, call, but the police know. And I've done the Sundays over with the Far Intelligence, Dallas Democrats,
Yeah, we're not having problems, so we're not going to anticipate problems. We're going to be out there with a good attitude, and so that's coming up. We have those two things every week. Is there anybody else that has anything that's going on that we need to know about? If not, going once, going twice. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. It was great to see everybody. Appreciate you weathering the heat. And we'll see you next week. We are here every third Thursday. So come on out.